Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio.
What's going on, people?
Yes, sir, man. So much to discuss, man. So much to discuss.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well,
So,
how's your week first?
oh nah, man. It's been cool. It's been cool. Just just I try not to watch so much social media stuff and whatnot, but then it's just kind of hard to escape it. Just even when for me, I'm a fan of YouTube University. I
Hmm.
wasn't always a fan of it, but I go to YouTube to just try to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, no, it's very useful.
And you can't even avoid the BS. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And your boy Kodak Black, man,
Hmm.
the responsibility. So, did you watch any of the interview?
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I saw the headline first and then I watched it. But I also would say that Drink Champs is my favorite podcast.
So, what do you think their responsibility was with the Kodak Black interview?
So it's a hard one. And the reason why is because I'll even say in the comedy environment as well, a place that, liquor is the main objective. It's a part of the experience, as well as other, I don't even like saying the word drugs because, especially with the legalization of marijuana and, everything kind of has its place. Um, the thing is with Kodak specifically, um, from what I watched the interview, I got to watch the whole thing. I'll be honest, I do not have 4 hours to sit back and watch a whole Drink Champs. I don't even know how you get that far in. So I looked at the snips. I look at the parts that, I go straight to the comment section. I go to YouTube comment section, what people saying, and I go look for the timestamps. And none of the timestamps that I saw did he do anything that was out of character. That's the thing. Now, did he seem drugged up? Absolutely. Is there a drug problem in America? Absolutely. Is it a problem with rappers being on drugs, talking about drugs? Absolutely. Is that the Drink Champs' responsibility? It's hard to say, but I will say maybe they should do some form of background check or get them to sign off on something before. Because with a show like Drink Champ, like that's the purpose of the show is getting effed up. You know what I'm
But the
saying?
content, the responsibility of the content. But I guess with the
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship, them being a sponsorship driven podcast, sponsorship coming from different revenue streams,
Yeah.
it's kind of like they got this juicy content, and it's like, do they do the responsible thing, or well, I guess it would be to one's
What's the responsible thing?
not to show that dude like that, man.
I mean, that's the hard part. I'm not saying I have an answer for this, but it's a
Yeah,
hard thing. If that's his consistency,
yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's some people. If that's not their character, it's like whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to be seen that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at 5 Kodak Black interviews, 3 of them gonna look exactly like that.
Something interesting. So, one of my close friends used to work for him at
Mm,
one point, and this was when he did a performance on one of these. It was before he went to jail. He did a performance on one of these huge award shows, and my friend, we were talking, and he had a very special relationship with Kodak Black. And he's like, he's a very respectful young man. When he drinks, it's kind of, a wild card situation or whatever. But like he referred to my buddy as Mr. his last name. No,
mm,
Mr. first name, like some down south stuff, like some hospitality
yeah.
stuff, like
You said Kodak?
Mr.
Kodak?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So he had asked me to watch the performance because he said, you know, he's something special. He was trying to to tell me how Kodak was special. And so I watched it, and it came off without a hitch. Like, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
the Kodak that we see right now. This was probably about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Was he different then? Like I know you
yeah,
say he's not the same, but I mean, how
yeah,
was he different?
he wasn't the song that he was singing wasn't about anything material. It wasn't about any drugs. It was the I can't remember the song, but it really had superstar quality on it, and not superstar quality because of buffoonery, but like it really showed a talented side of the cat. Like it showed his star quality without bells and whistles and gangsterisms and all the things that kind of followed after that moment in time. And so I said to myself, you know what? I've been, listening to the guy maybe with a level of judgmental stuff. This was before Nipsey passed away. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So this was before we had grown to love and hate him. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like he was in a special place. And so when I saw that, I said, he's not necessarily for me, but he does. Like, I saw the star quality. I couldn't deny it. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't
Mm-hmm.
deny it. And once again, not star quality based on materialism, not star quality based on buffoonery, none of that. But he had that it thing. He definitely had the it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I saw the interview with Drink Champs, I kind of felt like he was out there and they just kind of like just let it go.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, are you like before I continue? Are you a fan of Drink Champs?
Yes.
Okay. Are you a fan of Nori?
Yeah.
And are you a fan of Kodak?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm cool with Kodak. I'm cool. I
Okay.
respect him. Uh-huh.
Okay. Did any of them act out of character to you? See what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like to me, and also Brown's in the chat. He mentioned, are they liable legally? Alliteration. Are they liable legally if an accident occurred? Um, in America, anybody can be sued for anything. That's the thing. But I actually just looked up rights to like well legal hurdles that a podcaster might run into. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just like you can on the street, anybody can be sued for anything. But I think the most number one thing that podcasters get sued for is misrepresentation. Because you could just make up a story about somebody. If you got enough followers, you can tarnish somebody's reputation and hurt their money and their bottom line. So the main thing people would sue for,
Tasha
which you have
K.
to, yeah. Oh, Tasha K and Cardi B is a prime example. But the most popular thing to sue for is the misrepresentation, defamation of character, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying with Kodak. I mean, this dude has been non-functioning the whole time. This is a guy who's cussed out judges. He's been arrested cussing out cops. I mean, this dude's a menace. He's a menace, but he also is how he sell records. So it's kind of hard to put a hard line on like, yeah, should he not be drugged up? Absolutely. The thing is, he wasn't on and I understand the moral parts of it, but he wasn't on the Today Show. He was on Drink Champs where they're constantly handing you vices in your face. I would say if there's any responsibility, it should be sign this waiver saying that you are healthy enough to be on the show. Because if you don't sign this waiver, then you don't need to be on the show. Because I can't. Nori and DJF are supposed to do a medical history of every person that comes on the podcast. You know what I mean? If let's just say that they brought somebody like DMX on, which he was on the show, and he died the day after, they would blame Drink Champs. You know what I'm saying? But DMX got a history. So like I said, I understand the moral part and I understand the entertainment part. It's really hard for me. I'm in the middle. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. All right. Nah, that was a very good point about those waivers, because I'm sure that with a show like Dream Champs, there is a hefty contract goes along with doing that. Like, they just don't let somebody just stroll off up in there like la di da. We about to sit down and get loaded and just go hard. It's like, I'm sure the
Yeah.
assumption of liability is laid out within a contract before they even start filming and tape.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hard one. I get it. You know what I mean? Because it only takes one person, which I talked to my cousin about this years ago. He was like, drink champs ain't gonna last. I'm like, I know you're right. Because just the concept of the show is like, but I like it because people be telling the truth on that show. They be giving
They
up them
get
goods.
open. They get and the funny thing about it, it's almost like I don't know if you've ever gone out with a friend and they're like, nah, I really don't drink. I'm not gonna have a lot, just whatever. And then they get one or two in them, and but they're not their character isn't to get loaded. You know what I'm saying? But they
Yeah.
go out and their intention is not to get loaded. They get one or two in them, and you just like, man, who put water on the gremlin? You know what I'm saying?
Right. But it's the purpose of the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it
Yeah.
wasn't drink champs, if it wasn't, of course they smoke and everything, that's how you get that truth up out of them. So Nori, he could be very toxic because he'd be like, "Oh, take another one." They'd be like, "No, I'm not drinking today." He said, "That means take two." Like, he that type of person.
Yeah.
But it's in the context of if I was a judge, I'd be like, "Man, I just don't do the show." Like, if it's a skydiving show, you're like, "Hey, I want to talk, but I don't want to skydive." Then don't get off the show, man. Or, "Man, I lost a family member in a skydiving accident. I don't know about it." You definitely don't need to be doing the show. So, but if they roll up cameras, then what you gonna do? Damn, I was gonna bring up something else. Oh, I was gonna say with comedy is like that too, because certain comedians, they be doing really well when they're lubricated,
Yeah.
and you want everybody to have a good time, but there's a line that's crossed, you could tell where they they'll probably nod their head back too far, or they don't speak for
Ooh.
like a 3-4 beats.
The
And you be like,
show that I
uh-huh.
came to that it was sold out. The one in Long Beach that I went to
Oh, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
was sold out.
Paul
That
Rodriguez.
was amazing. I'm not gonna throw. We don't need to throw him under. he's,
Oh,
he's
whoops.
a
I didn't
household.
know.
He's a
I didn't
household
know.
name.
My
But the
fault. My fault.
but the crazy thing about it is he was obliterated. The headliner of the show. He was gone. I mean, he was gone. But the crazy thing is, he pulled it together enough to be very entertaining on stage. And I felt conflicted with that because I was like, the way that he was moving around before he got on stage, he was obviously loaded. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then where the conflict came in on me, I was like, but damn, he did his job. You know what I'm saying? He did he he
I'm
did it.
telling you, I am torn. That's what I'm like. I can't. Man, I can name a whole bunch of comedians. You see them on that edge, and you be like, "Is this the day?" They might jump, but then you say they snap back in character, and they shaking hands, kissing babies at the end, and you like,
Yeah.
"Dude, I can't handle that type of liquor."
I've seen, the funny thing, I've seen artists. Um, I was at one particular show where I saw, uh, I could say one of America's favorite rap. People really didn't get into the guy by himself, but part of him being in the collective that he was in, they were a loved and a revered group.
Mhm.
And this guy had two people help him out to the stage. But when he got on the stage, he did his thing. He did his thing, and then I was just kind of like, well, damn, is this what it? I'd never seen rappers do that. I've seen rock and roll people. Like I've seen rock and roll people, you know, highly on extras. You know what I'm saying? And they get out to the stage and then they do their thing. But I'd never seen a rapper do that before. But then I guess, who are we to judge, man?
Mhm.
I guess,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'll say it's a hard one. I think they could do a whole documentary shoot, a 5-parter on drugs and music. You know what I mean? Like that, drugs and
and the
music.
arts.
Yeah, like in the arts in general. Like
Yeah.
it's it because you without certain drug addicts, you don't get certain forms of greatness. I am torn down the middle. I promise.
So so back to the Kodak interview. Two things.
Mhm.
While he was loosey goosey, he started talking about 21 Savage and how he felt that 21 Savage had changed since he started, dealing with Drake and whatnot. My point of view on that was kind of like if Kodak Black could have been down with 21 Savage and Drake, he wouldn't have felt that way. You know what I'm saying? Like if he would have been part of the party, but he kind of felt like since uh 21 Savage, has this thing going with Drake and he's out there on the road and all this, that, and the other, like he kind of switched it up on him. But then I gotta say at the same time, when you're making money, you kind of certain things just aren't as appealing to you when you're not making. Well, I'll say when you're making a lot of money, certain things aren't as appealing to you when you're not making that money.
Wait, so what's the issue? Kodak Black. I understand. I only saw parts. I know
Okay,
that
okay,
was a
no.
long
So
interview.
I'll tell you. So
So yeah.
basically, while Kodak was a little where in the mind frame that he was at, that he was in, he chose to talk about 21 Savage and about how they were cool before the Drake situation. And 21 Savage kind of like was like showing that he was a fan of Kodak and everything was cool and just, and all this, that, and other. Like he was a fan of Kodak. But after the 21 Savage and Drake situation, I guess 21, I guess Kodak reached out to him or something like that, or tried to whatever. And 21 Savage really, it wasn't that same enthusiasm that he had before the Drake situation.
Yeah, I
And,
mean, go
and
ahead.
20
Sorry.
and 21 Savage was like, yo, man, you shouldn't even spoke on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, why are you even like,
Spoke. Oh, brought it up. Yeah, that is a big thing. He probably should have called him first, or if. But I guess 21 wasn't answering.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, look, man, he was on tour. He's living fast. I mean, like, yeah. And Drake saved. I don't care what nobody said. Drake saved 21 Savage. That dude was on his way out here. And for those who have a problem with it, I dare you to name 3 hot 21 singles right now. Go. You're gonna say a lot, and you're gonna stop. It's fine. He was close to blowing all the way up, but he's just stopped his momentum. I don't know what it was, but he wasn't that guy of that whole squad. Only person that really maintained the momentum is Lil Uzi Vert. This is the same year Yachty came out, and that's 2016. I think Anderson .Paak was part of that too. But Yachty is like the biggest rapper, of all of that. Those
Mm-hmm.
guys just they're not legends. They just didn't have lasting power. But Kodak, I wouldn't say the Drake thing would be the reason why 21 Savage wouldn't speak to him. I would say probably Kodak, 21 Savage cleaning up his life
Staying
just
away
overall.
from, yeah, not
Yeah,
being
just
associated with the wildness.
yeah, Kodak is a he's a wild card. He's a loose cannon, and you just never know what you're gonna get when you're dealing with him. You know what I mean? That's just obvious. So yeah, those type of people, as you growing in your fame, because even though 21, he's not as big of a performer, he's definitely a bigger celebrity now. He had to get away from people like Kodak. I suggest people get away from Kodak. I wouldn't ride in the car with Kodak. That's my opinion on that.
The interesting part, I've experienced it, and I'm sure you've experienced it. When people get on a trajectory and they're moving like that, it's almost like a relationship, like a man and a woman, or a somewhat intimate relationship, serious, not serious, or whatever. I'll quote Richard Pryor's bodyguard, Rashawn. It
Oh
was
God.
what it was when it was. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? but,
Until
but
until he dug it up from the past. I ain't gonna lie, I enjoy it, but I be like, that dude was spilling it. Oh, him
hey,
and Quincy Jones, man. Whew, you learn too much
hey.
about your heroes.
But I've had people switch it up on me. You know what I'm saying? That's just a part. I mean, if you're gonna deal, put it this way. I learned a friend is somebody that you can talk to, or a peer is somebody that you can talk to, and the conversation not be about business. You know what I'm saying? Like
Man,
that's a peer. That's a
tell
peer.
my friends that that's all I want to do is talk about business, which I respect. But then I'll be like, then you got to stop and be like, are you all right? Yo, you good? You know,
Hey,
like, but you're absolutely right.
yeah, like
Oh,
I'll go
but
ahead.
no, I was gonna say, whenever you thinking about who's not, and I have to check myself on this. Whenever you're focusing on who's not paying attention to you, I feel like you're ignoring the people who are paying attention and who are rocking with you. And most
Yeah,
times,
man.
it's more people rocking with you that are not rocking with
Hey,
you. And with Kodak, as popular, as famous as he is, and as much is going on for him, I understand technically he's not a current artist. But he just did he was on half of Kendrick Lamar's album. You know what I mean? And Kendrick Lamar is a legacy artist. And I know that gave him a big boost. The same boost that 21 got for Drake,
mm-hmm.
you know, Kodak got from Kendrick. That's popularity, that's tour dates, that's everything, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, and then they coattails are so big, they only gonna let a few people in anyway. You can't ride Drake and 21 when you got Kendrick, bro. They like, you good. You
Yeah,
good, Kodak. You good. He was on the album. You know how many people rock with like Drake or Kendrick, but they don't let him on the album? Like, we cool, but I ain't gonna let you on the album.
yeah.
Like Schoolboy Q ain't been on the Kendrick album.
With a straight face, though. With a straight
You
face, like,
know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I mean, I think that's the thing. That's a maturity thing.
well,
Kodak, we continue to pray for you. I don't know what to do with that.
for me, I've had experiences where um I've been hella cool with like I've known some artists that have been like top tier artists at what they do. And one particular artist, he's close to someone that I'm close to, and we get together for family event, like for the like let's say New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever. But we have this thing where when we get together, it's Switzerland, so we don't talk about no business. We talk,
Mm,
we drink, we you know what I'm saying. We eat, we talk about sports, we do
mm-hmm,
every single thing, but we don't talk about business. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Where I could say he's a peer. We just don't really, we don't do business together, this particular
mm-hmm.
artist or whatever. And I don't feel funny about that because it's kind of like you can't have everything sometimes. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And
I
and
agree.
that's just part of it.
I agree. Yeah, I'm like, I think that's maturity, and everybody want what they can't have. You know what I mean? And just you have different types of friendships for different reasons.
Your
Like
homeboy that did that cartoon that's hell of a. You know what I'm saying?
cartoon. Yeah, give me a little more. Give me a little more. I know.
Rick and Morty.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh,
dude,
you
you
talking about
cool with
that? Oh,
yeah, like you cool with it. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
and
yeah. I mean, that's
and
what
the
just need to be what it is. Yeah.
and the thing about it is, if people really knew that you was cool with homeboy like that, they'd be like, "Oh, Jeremy, you should do this, or you should pitch this." And it's like, man, that's not
When
our
it's
relationship. You know?
when it I would say when the time is right. But I tell you, man, like what I'm more inspired by,
Mm-hmm.
is when I'm in a store and I'm looking at shirts and you just see like something that came out of his mind on the stuff. And it's not like merch. You know what I'm saying? Merch, you got to come from the distributor and you just hoping they buy so you can do
Yeah.
something with it. This is just like a licensing deal to sell H&M. So yeah, that's what I'm like more inspired by. Like, getting on that level. But yeah, absolutely. Yep. That's funny. That's a good example. A great
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
I want to say, I don't know if you know, Will Smith has a new podcast. People have been saying Will been quiet, but Will has been doing his podcast. With he just did a episode with Salt and Pepper, and basically he revealed that he went on a date with Pepper, but he was scared to continue because Pepper ex was Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, he said he was scared that he was gonna come after him, supposedly. And she was like, "Yeah, you're right. He would have." My question is, why is Will Smith so open with taking L's? Like that's just like, shoot.
You know what? I think when you reach a certain level of stardom, like, dude, he's a younger version of Denzel. You know what I'm saying? Of our generation. You know what I'm saying? Well, really, you could say, I'm not gonna say he's dope. I'm not gonna say he's doper than Denzel. I'm not gonna say he's as dope as Denzel, but I'll say he wasn't a whack musician, even though people, you know, took him, kind of made fun of him as the parody of a rapper or whatever. But dude, he was a decent musician, and then he became an actor, and he became a great actor. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say, when you reach a level that's so high, you just kind of don't care. That's what I, that's how I, how I take it. Like, he doesn't he doesn't mind being vulnerable.
There's definitely some truth to that. I definitely admit I was being facetious because of people on the planet, he's one of the most. But also, well, I'll say this: the fact that he's willing to come down from his, plateau with us, it shows how valuable what we are doing right now is.
Yeah.
Because I say things that Will Smith don't need. I say three things he doesn't need. He doesn't need an Instagram account. He's on there daily. He doesn't need a podcast, and he doesn't need a wife. No, I'm kidding. But but I'm just
That's a
saying that
fact.
the fact that he's, willing to give these things a try and commit, especially I mean, to be honest with you, hip hop, it's called hip hop class of 1988 or whatever. Like, that'll clear up some things. A lot of conversations I have is for people is it's always a history conversation with hip hop. People forget things that happen, or they say this is the first time this ever happened. Oh, real quick, I think let me talk about this. You see, Ari Spears, DJ Vlad on DJ Vlad. So what was the argument? Vlad said, because hip hop this is the first year that hip hop wasn't the number one genre of music. Like it hasn't had a number one all year, I believe, something like that. And people were like, "So what's going on with hip hop? Is there a problem?" And Ari Spears, so DJ Vlad asked that to Ari Spears, and he was like, "Well, you be on top so long, like, so what if you mess up? You miss a year, or like whatever." And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, he said, hip hop was the number one genre. It just recently got number one, and it fell off. And Ari Spears was like, "No, it was the number one genre in the '90s." And then Vlad was like, "That's not true." He goes, "Nah, man, nah." So he said, "You mean to tell me hip hop was not number one in the '90s?" He said, "I know you a lot. I was alive. We were around." He's like, "Nah." So he looked it up. He looked it up. He said, "Oh, it was the number one genre, but it didn't have enough number ones." He said, "You mean to tell me there was no number ones?" He said, "Vlad, you're lying. You're lying." He looked it up some more. He goes, "Yeah, it was a lot of number ones in the '90s. It was the biggest." And he said, "I told you." He said, "Stop acting like you know black culture more than black people."
As much as I feel questionable about Ari Spears at times, I
Absolutely, 1,000%. Right. That gave him some redemption points because exactly he's oh man, he's definitely made me question him plenty of times. But yeah, I think
yeah, and also to spin the record back for a second,
mhm.
with the 6ix9ine situation. and them
Mhm.
discussing that on Drink Champs. Um,
What's the situation?
well, uh, Kodak Black did a song with 6ix9ine.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
Boosie and a bunch of people were kind of like, "Oh, you shouldn't have took the money and this, that, and the other." And Kodak was basically like, "Man, I come from a bunch of people that are broke. Like, man,
Yeah.
fools would be mad at me if I didn't take the money. You know what I'm saying? To do the song." He's like, "Man, I did a song. Like, man, all I did was a song." You know what I'm saying? And he was like, it's not like Kodak, it's not like 6ix9ine told or snitched on any of my people or my friends or whatever, where you know and I guess everybody kind of has something to say, but I'll say on that point I did feel Kodak because I'm like, man, what, nobody else offering him $1 million to do a track?
Man, look, Kodak was the right person to do it, and he knew the price. He knew the price. That's
He
why he
didn't
was like,
care.
why 21 not answer my phone call, bro? You knew the price. Relax, bro. Like, come on, man. Man, come on, bro. Come on. You ain't on that many drugs. You know what's up. Like, yo, you
Yeah,
know that 6ix9ine was public enemy number one for like 2 years straight, bro. You know what's up. Hey, I hope the money was good. 50 Cent said this. He said, not all money's good money.
yeah,
That's what he said. So yeah.
yeah. So tell me this.
Mhm.
Um, basically, I've watched a um a trend of hip hop shows go from you know one or two decent shows a week to these mega festivals once a month at least. Mega
Mhm. Mhm.
festival, all the just so many artists. For the buck, a lot more money, but so many artists. You can see, and with comedy, um, comedy is like a small club kind of thing. Now you do have your arenas and you have your large stuff, but comedy does survive off of nights, weekly nights and monthly nights and all that kind of stuff. How do you see comedy surviving with this change of how the consumers are spending and monopolizing their time and all that? Like, because you do small rooms all the time, you know, or not,
You
not
have to
saying that
say
you don't do large
you don't have to
rooms.
say it like that, but yeah.
I'm not, come on, man.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's fine.
Okay, let me spin it back.
No, you're good.
You're at the comedy store. The
Mhm.
comedy store can have like, does it have like 4 rooms or 3 rooms?
You got 3 rooms.
Dude, all of those rooms can be packed on a particular night with
Yeah.
different types of comedy going on.
Absolutely.
How does that survive with the way that the consumers are consuming now?
Well, I'm gonna need you to be more specific with your question because it's like, are you asking how clubs survive? Are you asking how comedy, like the culture,
Comedy
is doing
surviving in
comedy
the club. Now the club is going to
in the
survive off
club?
of the drinks. I think, like in my mind, that's what I'm thinking.
I would disagree. I feel like the club, the clubs now, some like the Comedy Store, which is more like a historical monument,
Mm-hmm.
that could survive. But yeah, your common comedy club, if it's not affiliated with other clubs, it kind of is on life support in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, comedy is at all time high. Like I would say the power has been more in the comedian's hands specifically, and I would say like the fact that you have independent like satellite venues that pop up more to where it's more about the comedy than the actual club. Like it used to be more secluded to the club, but you got more comics going out on arena tours by themselves. Live Nation did a hell of a job monopolizing comedy in that way, as well as it did with hip hop. I mean, if you look at the number of live tours that's been going on that are by Live Nation, it's at all time high. Like these guys could not do this before. You know what I mean? But now, whatever shenanigans are done behind the scenes, you got people who will build their name up in a club. And then after that, all they need is like a couple viral videos, and now they're doing theaters, which Live Nation owns the big and the small. You know what I'm saying? So clubs are irrelevant in that capacity. Um, but I would say like uh comedy surviving. Yeah, I mean, there's like I said, it's they got more direct to consumer. It just depends on what people want to do. But yeah, it's just social media just made it a different landscape in general. I mean, if the clubs die, they just die. I mean, but you have places like this thing called Don't Tell Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Don't Tell Comedy is a comedy show, and there's more shows like this, but I'm just using it because they're like the biggest one. It's
Mm-hmm.
nationwide. It's like what Uber was for taxis, or Starbucks was for coffee. I really am jealous of this concept because I've had this idea, but it's all about execution and those that shall not be named. But what this guy what these people were able to do was make it to where you don't know who's going to be on the show. You don't even know where the venue's going to be at until the day of the show. You get an address. You just pop up for
Man.
comedy, which is super productive in a way because that's what Live Nation, all these other places do. They or any club, they say comedy's name based. So if you're not a big name, sorry, we can't have you on stage or we can't give you opportunities. Meanwhile, you have something like this. It's just like, oh, if you want comedy, you're gonna get comedy, and you're gonna have a mixture of big names and small names. But you don't know. So these are more pure comedy fans, other than people that go to comedy clubs, which is essentially a bar, if you think about it. 2 drink minimums. These places don't have that. And guess what? They're packed every time and they can be everywhere. It's like insane.
It's
So,
genius. It's
yeah.
truly because what they've done is they've turned it into a brand. And so because of the brand association, even if it's not a popping comedian that's there, the brand is so popping that the event is popping, which will hand
Yeah.
in hand, everything will
But
work
it's
together.
it's it's already working nationwide. It's like Fight Club. Like you either know about it or you don't. They book me and they pay me, so I can't complain. But
Hey,
and it's everywhere. Like I mean, I was in Boston, they had them in Boston. I was in whatever, Austin, they got them all over. The dude's a genius. But yeah, comedy surviving, I would say there is a culture that I understand where, you got your old school guys, everybody want to do the Richard Pryor and the Paul Mooney's and of course your Eddie's Martins, whatever, you name it, George Wallace, Bernie Mac, Robert, those days might not be what we are now because
mm-hmm.
simply population size. It's just too many people, and you can make a decent living off of just stand-up comedy, which you
And
couldn't
too
do in
many
the
comedians.
past. Way too many comedians, way too many. It's just what it is. But yeah, comedy surviving. I would say during COVID that was the question mark, but it's the gift and the curse because when you tell people they can't do something, it made them do it more, and the numbers have never been higher. Like even at the Comedy Store, like it's packed every day, all 3 rooms.
I
Crazy.
want I want to ask you about two comedians and
Okay,
just tell me what first comes to your mind.
you saying names or no?
Yeah, no, I'm saying names. And
Okay,
it's
cool.
not there's some context to it, but I just want to hear what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Um Ali Wong.
Um, funny, loud, uh, um, Nancy Wright. I don't know. That's Nancy Lee or something. Nancy Wright, I think it is. Yeah. That's her like code name when she's at the Comedy Store because she's
Okay.
so famous. Um, yeah, she's funny. She was I remember when I first got here, she was number 2 on the top comics to watch. Uh I think it's funny. I'll say it on here. It's funny when comics can get famous. Other race of comics get famous off of doing what like black female comics get shamed for. Like, but I understand it as well for marketing because she's different,
Yeah.
versus other Asian comedians. There's no other Asian comedian like Ali Wong, and I
Yeah.
like, and she a boss too, so I respect that.
But it's the same with other people that are different than black that
Yeah,
do levels of comedy in particular ways. But the reason why um, I bring her up is I didn't listen to an album. I listened to an album on Saturday, but I didn't listen to an album on Sunday.
Okay.
And Brown had actually mentioned a mini series on Netflix that it he mentioned it to me, and I tried to watch one episode and I really didn't catch it, and I
Mm-hmm.
just said, you know what, I need to chill out on Sunday, and I just need to like kind of get my mind ready for some stuff that I'm about to try to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a movie that her and David Cho.
Yeah. Walking Dead.
No.
No.
Beef.
Yeah. That dude, he's from Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, okay. So he's from The
Yeah,
Walking Dead. Okay,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
So Beef. And the acting was amazing. And I had no idea that she was a comedian. I had no idea. I
Oh, really?
thought she was just an incredible actress. I'm sorry.
She's really good at
I
acting. Yeah, she's good.
mean, put it this way. So, um, with the guy from The Walking Dead, um, so uh, I saw his face,
Mm-hmm.
um,
David
and I was
Cho?
like, I know this guy from somewhere. Like I know him from somewhere, and I was like, you know what? I've seen him on Joe Rogan,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, and he played kind of like a crazy dude in the movie. And I was like, no, I've seen him talk, and he talks about some crazy stuff. Not that he's crazy, but I've seen him outside of this little mini series that I'm watching right now talk about some crazy stuff. So I stopped
Mm-hmm.
Beef, and so I go to Joe Rogan, and so I said, I typed in Joe Rogan actor, Joe Rogan interviewing Beef actor, whatever. And I was just like, man, I was amazed at how these personalities outside of acting came into acting and provided these seamless performances. And the levels that they have, you seen Beef?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The levels they took it to. I mean, I guess when Brown was telling me kind of like what it was, I wasn't understanding the levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it was the epitome of you need to let it go.
Yeah. I think that's the good part about like these streaming platforms, and they're like um they're so hungry for content that where you get like very like nuanced ideas that probably would have never made network television. You know what I mean? I mean that would be a good gig for me. I would love to like get on like a piece. You know what I'm saying? Something that's just like, because especially if it resonate with people, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's exactly. But yeah, that dish that sent shockwaves. When you driving into Hollywood, West Hollywood, on Sunset, like first of all, you get bombarded with Netflix billboards, but there's one that's like Sunset and Crescent Heights. Whatever's on that billboard is going to be a big movie. Like others are big or big, whatever, no matter what it is. And Beef, when it was there, I was like, oh yeah, they made it. Before I even saw it, I was like, oh yeah, they made it.
I feel so late. I feel so late. I mean, it was. I can honestly say that has probably been one of the best Netflix watches I've seen this year, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Just on the level of talent that they had. The storyline was incredible, but the talent, and then to see that these people are comedians and they're doing different stuff, and that they just kind of like brought their game to this project, that was kind of amazing to me.
Yeah, shoot, comedians, they make good actors from what I heard. There's actually this great series or great film that's on AMC Plus
Yes,
called Night of the
sir.
Hunted. That this guy, man, it was this guy on there. I swear he was a comedian. I was like, man, I looked him up, his IMDb. I was like, man, that dude, he's a star. And I was like, yo, this must be something else behind his acting that makes him star. And it was because he was a comedian. It's crazy.
It, the back of his head. I saw the back of his head, and when he made it beyond the back of his head, I was like, okay, you know what I'm
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I was like,
You,
yeah, no, I was like, yeah, he's actually I'll use the word riveting. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I've been a back of the head actor for a minute. Pause if there is one. But yeah, I was in back of my head was in Strata Compton as well. So glad I made it to the front. Um, I wanted to ask real quick. This is a great question for you since you managed you've had the keys to managing a legendary group. Um, Jeezy is just announced that he's dropping a new album. It's his first album since being off of Def Jam. He's been on the label Def Jam since 2005. I remember when he got signed because he got signed. It was him, Rick Ross, Rihanna, and Neo. Jay-Z signed them all when he became the president of Def Jam. I'll never forget that. But and all those artists became big. But Jeezy, this is his first album being independent.
Mm-hmm.
He has his own label. Obviously, he's super rich. But it's the age-old question, but I would just like to know from your perspective, what's the benefit? And do you feel like in today's time it's better to be independent or to go with a major label?
If you're an artist like Jeezy, where he's had a lot of success, a lot of controversy. Um, I don't know if he timed it like this, but his divorce, where it was just like such a big deal for him to be married to who he was married to and all that, I feel like for him, he didn't need anybody's borrowed money to do what he needed to do. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? He could put his own money into it. He has his own infrastructure, or let's just say this: even if he didn't have his own infrastructure, the equity of an infrastructure similar to people that do production for different events or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A production team is an infrastructure.
Yeah.
They're just plugged into this thing to make whatever this event or this thing is run straight, better, bigger, get the
Mm-hmm.
accolades and whatnot. So Jeezy, he didn't need a record label. He didn't need to have anybody telling him what he needed to do. He didn't need any of that. He needed
Mm-hmm.
the thing about it. If he would have accepted money from somebody, it would have been somebody telling him what to do when he obviously knows some of what to do. And at the same time, he would have owed money.
Mm-hmm.
I think that him putting out an independent record for him was a great move because even if it has an okay level of success, he set himself up to partner with somebody, not necessarily to take a hunk of money from somebody and owe somebody a whole bunch of money. But see, guys like that, you can have a brand come along where the brand like people don't when people think of Nipsey Hussle, they think independent from the mud, no assistance and whatever. But man, Nipsey had partnerships with Rockefeller. He had partnerships with Puma. He had partnerships with liquor. He had all these things that gave you the hustle. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? There was now to someone who wasn't in the know, they're just like, oh man, this is this kid that was selling CDs off of Crenshaw. You know what I'm saying? And he went from selling CDs on Crenshaw to hopping off of planes. Nah, man. Nipsey was going out to Jay-Z's house. He was meeting up there with them. He had that infrastructure. He was plugged into it. So I say all that to say, Jeezy for who Jeezy is, he did the right thing to do an independent record at this time.
Mm-hmm. But do you feel like for newer artists, you would still say get that label push
If you
or
can,
take this
yeah,
off?
yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have an infrastructure, yeah, because it's almost like uh if you're popping, Brown kind of brought this to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
If you got it popping, people will do things for you for free in order to be associated with you.
Yeah.
If you don't have it popping, you're going to have to pay for people to mess with you. And even if you pay them, you're still not going to get their full attention like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
the craziest thing in the
You ain't
world, the
lying.
psychology behind how all of that works. But that's just how it works. It's just a cold world.
Man, and it's funny because it's all the way to the top with that mentality. Like the people who you feel like should be above that would still succumb to that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I just named two people for whatever reason. Um, was it this dude named Ralph Barbosa? He's a comedian, Hispanic guy. He got popular because he was already doing well. He's a funny comedian, but George Lopez, some this guy brought him up on a podcast, like about comics that he helped. And then George Lopez was like, fuck that guy, focus on yourself. He's like, the guy was like, yo, I like helping people though. He was like, what's the kid's name? He's like, Ralph Barbosa. Fuck Ralph Barbosa.
I heard that
That
story.
that blew that guy through that roof
Yeah.
to the point where George Lopez apologized. You think he apologized because he was sorry? Or he apologized because he just created one of the hottest comedians in the country? Right. And then after this guy sells out the Improv 8 days in a row, the Hollywood Improv, a place that he could probably barely get a night there
Yeah.
previously. Dave Chappelle was in the other room, in a small room. The kid was playing the big room. Dave Chappelle comes and co-signs the guy. But it's just funny that look what you got to go through. Look how hot you got to get a co-sign. Can't just
And
be on stage killing it and then go, ah. Same thing with this guy, Matt Rife, who just blew up a couple months ago. You know, since he blew through the roof, I'm not going to say these guys don't deserve it. They've been hustling a long time. But since he blew through the roof, he got a Live Nation deal, biggest tour dates ever. That's why I said comedy dead.
hey,
No, no, comedy crazy right now.
okay.
I'm just waiting to get my phone call. But this fool went from doing regular club dates to, you know, now he's doing arenas and stuff around the country. Dave Chappelle co-signed him, brought him to his show, held this man's heart like this is the guy. This is, you know, and this is to be for somebody that be like, oh, this is real comedy. This is not real comedy. And Dave Chappelle goes, you know what I'm saying? So it is
Yeah.
funny that how people can champion you off of your heat. They'd be
Dude,
willing to do things for you that money can't do.
I watched a pretty dope story earlier today, where there was this guy and he was a barber in Arizona. And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to say it might have been Super Bowl or there was something going on, a football game, and Finesse two times was like, I need a haircut. So through word of mouth, whatever, this guy goes and he cuts his hair. And I guess he was going to charge, he said he charged like $200 for the cut or just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Homeboy was like, nah, you don't have to pay me to finesse two times. Just give me an Instagram drop. And
Mm-hmm.
so finesse two times was with I forget who, but he was with another larger rapper or whatever. And he was like, yo, man, I'm gonna get you. Just follow us to this club and I'll get you at the club. And then Finesse kind of like ghosted him and kind of like boned out. So Homeboy ends up popping up somewhere and he's kind of blowing him up a little bit. Like, man, you said you was gonna like I didn't charge you. You said you was gonna give me a shout out. Woo, 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 woo,
Mm-hmm.
woo. And so somehow Finesse two times was doing like an interview on a podcast or he was doing something, and it wasn't that Finesse two times was just like dissing the dude or whatever. Like, man, you're at a popping event, you're kind of popping.
Mm-hmm.
You lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're having a great time.
Yeah.
Finesse two times was like, oh man, you know what, man, let me give this dude a shout out right now, man. I forgot he got the dopest haircuts in Arizona, woo, woo, woo. And Homeboy was like, man, that blew my stock up incredible. He was like, man, how me doing a haircut for $200 when I could have charged more and then not even getting the money at that time, but then and seeming like I kind of got dissed, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
somebody kind of like honoring their word just kind of like blew me up to the next, you know. So it's all about being humble, man, and just kind of holding your tongue before you just go crazy. Another thing that Brown had kind of helped me with when because when I got into like dealing with entertainment, I kind of took what people would say to me at value. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And not understanding that, like, man, people will say anything to you in the business. Like, man, they'll
Oh yeah.
literally they'll say anything to you. And
Yeah.
but see, my thing was if somebody would say something to me and just like bust the 180, in my early years, I used to find it where I would just want to like speak on it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if
Mm-hmm.
I knew somebody that was doing business with them or something like that. But the lesson I learned, dude, no one cares what your interaction was with somebody who might have jerked you or did this or that when
Yeah.
somebody else is making money. Like if somebody's making money with them, and it's kind of like it's an old school dude that I know, Bobby Glanton Smith. He was cool with Jim Brown and like oh, he's from that era, but he knows my pops and all that kind of stuff. He's a
Mm-hmm.
mover and shaker, but he has a saying that says, "If you can't feed people, you can't lead people." And
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of goes to regardless of what we feel should be wrong and what we feel should be right, if somebody's able to make money with somebody, regardless if you got dissed in some kind of a way on some whole other stuff, most people are gonna rock with making some bread, man. And that's just the cold, disheartening truth of a business. I won't even say entertainment business. I'll just say business.
Yeah. Once again, it's one of those things where I feel like whenever focus on the negative, like you're ignoring the positive, or you focus on who's not messing with you. Like I said, we all guilty of it. You'd be like, man, that dude, I can't believe he played me. It's almost like there's people who rock with you that you just ignore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to, being a underdog in the comedy game, I had to talk to so many people about this. Cause it's funny, because people put me up here and I'm like, no, I'm working. What do you mean? Like I ain't even I did a mic today, and they got mad at me. It was like, whoa, what Jeremy Scipio, what are you doing here? He's like, he's touring nationally and you're gonna come and steal time from open micers. I'm like, bro, I just came to kick it. But it's all about perspective. But I'll say, like, man, there's so many people. If you're talented or you got something to offer, there's hella people rocking with you. And yeah, if the people who not rocking with you, I feel like just the connection or even them, if I can get somebody to say my name that's in a power position, that's good enough for me, because I know I've been in the game long enough, things come around full circle. And I don't know what it is about any level. People like knowing people. They like to know people, especially like in the industry. They like to. I know big people who they they know me, but they don't mess with me. But if they know somebody else, this is what I think they're afraid of. They're afraid if somebody goes, man, you got to hear this big comedian Jeremy Scipio, man. Like, oh yeah, I know him, I know. But they're afraid of if they go, I never heard of him. Like, you haven't heard of Jeremy? What? You go, no. I'll call him right now. That's what they want to hear, because that's their job. That's
Mm-hmm.
the game. So it's like, yo, I don't know. I'm not in a position to say this, but I did appreciate what Jay-Z said. He said during I forgot what interview. I think it might have been Breakfast Club, but it could have been a different one. He said, they said, did you have issues like Kanye would have issues with the music industry, the business side? He
Mm-hmm.
always complained and stuff. They said, do you feel that same way? And Jay-Z was like, I got in the game for the music business. He's like, I didn't get into it for the music or necessarily the business part, like the music business. That's what I'm good at. That's what I like doing. He would say, I would say I'm better at music business than I am at music. So he's like, like I like it kind of. And I had to fall in love with that part too. Like, we just call it the comedy game. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's not as, like I said, I'm not in a position. I need to get to the mountaintop like Jay-Z in order to say it with some oomph, but like I go out for the game. You know what I mean? I to know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So and also so I don't butt heads with the wrong person or or somebody go, oh, you took that joke. It's like you can tell people who are not in the game because they don't realize they'll tell a joke and be like, why anybody laugh? It's like because every comedian told that joke, then they got over it. You know what I'm saying? So, the game, that's what I look at, just pay attention to people who rocking with you. And if people ain't rocking with you, they will. That's why I
You
look at
know,
that because I take it hard.
you know, um, I've got a saying, and I'll say it's about 75% accurate. Unless somebody calls out your mother's name or your father's name by first and last name, it's not personal. It could be weird, it could be disrespectful, it could be a lot of, whatever, but it's not like somebody woke up in the morning thinking about your downfall and went to sleep at night thinking about your downfall. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But when we encounter that weirdo stuff, the first impulse is personal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
Like
Absolutely.
the first impulse is personal. Huh? But I want to wind it down, and there's something that I saw happen in the last 7 days that kind of chapped my hide. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It chapped my hide, and it was Glorilla and Kai
Okay.
Sanat.
Okay.
And from so many different angles, it was well, it's a sign of the time. That's really what I had to with as I progressed through the conflict. It's a sign of the time because we used to rely on the Source magazine,
Mm-hmm.
Rolling Stone, MTV shows, BET shows, um, record company executives to tell us their opinion on who's who and what's what when it came to music.
Mm-hmm.
And in this new um, space and place that we're in right now, it's all about celebrity and what they have to say. And it could be celebrity that has nothing to do with music at all, which I feel like Kai Cenat. I I may be wrong, but I haven't seen what he has to do with music so much other than having a large following, being an influencer.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it's just kind of weird to me that these record companies are paying these podcast dudes and paying these streamers the money, the promotional dollars. You know what I'm saying? In order to be the gatekeepers that kind of feed
But
you your content. And I really had issue with this, man.
you
Like,
know why?
huh,
You know why?
huh.
Come on, man. The kids. It's the kids. You get them while they young. He's a Twitch streamer. Twitch streamer. When the last time you been on Twitch? It's
Oh,
not for us.
it's the
We
old
old,
man
man.
syndrome.
I'm saying,
Oh,
you be acting like I'm the kid. I'm with you. We old, man. That's what we talking to the old people. You know what I'm saying? They talking to the kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you get these kids that never heard of Glorilla, who now they gotta say her name because their favorite Twitch streamer is beefing with her. And you got future fans. You know what I mean, they're gonna evolve into concert goers. You know what I'm saying?
you know what? It's no different than cereal companies marketing during cartoons when we were
Yes.
younger, or Star Wars coming out and they're marketing with McDonald's or Burger King or whatever for whatever I guess it's all the same. It's a new version of it. It's the 5.0 version. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It just looks weird because it's not the fluff of marketing and not the shiny stuff and the stars coming at you. And, hey, buy this. It comes off like, I mean, they monetize beef, man. Like, yo, you look stupid. Click, and they be like, wait, what? Did you hear? This person said this person looks stupid. It's like, yo, and the thing is about beef, you guys gotta be careful who you beef with because your names are permanently tied together with your enemy, man. Biggie and Tupac's names are permanently tied together. You think that's Tupac's intention? If you hate somebody, you don't want your name to be brought up with this person forever. And
And you,
that's what happens.
and you know
That's
what?
what
Me flushing the thought out as we're having the dialogue and whatnot, I'm totally wrong.
what
Maybe Kai Cenat is the person to talk about it because he made all them people do whatever they did in New York that
in
went
New York,
crazy. You
yeah.
know, he had
Yeah,
that much
yeah.
influence. Maybe he was the right guy.
Man, it beats. They could take that same money and buy her every billboard on Times Square. Probably wouldn't have hit as hard as you got this kid talking to younger kids. It's the future concert buyers, man. That's what it is. If you can get kids to speak your legend for you, you know what I'm saying? And we all guilty of it. It do look weird. I will admit, it look weird.
Not a
Like you said,
problem.
like you're like, what does this dude got to do with hip hop? I think we talked about it. Old girl, we call her industry plant. I can't think of her name. I'm glad I can't.
I
The girl
know.
that
I know you're talking
Drake
about.
hopped in the bed with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Drake don't do interviews. He did her interview. What's that about? You know what I'm saying? Kids, man. And then, respect him as a person and as a comedian, but I'm not crazy about the awkward podcast format. Funny Marco. He just had Kevin Hart on, and he's clearly wasting Kevin Hart's time. I understand Kevin Hart's playing it up like a character, but truth and jest, he was really wasting time. It's just asking dumb questions, being awkward. Apparently, that's what's in.
Hey,
Uh, I may never be popular because I hate it.
but it
but
was
but
content. It created content that millions of people cannot let. It's like the greatest thing in the world.
I thought people's attention spans were getting shorter. Apparently, it's getting longer if you could wait for somebody to ask weird questions and just stare at them after they said it. It's like we used to, man. It's just like ASMR. You know what that is?
Uh-uh.
ASMR is people who make videos of sounds, and like it started off at least with eating. People would eat into a high quality microphone, and people would watch and listen to people eat. What do we used to call that? This we call
Weird, being weird.
we used to call that smacking.
Yeah.
Smacking's annoying. Like,
Uh-huh.
yo, why you eating so loud? And now people making money off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sign of
that's
the time.
crazy.
Sign
Yeah,
of
and
the
then
time.
being awkward you was a weirdo. You're like, I want to talk to you. You don't want to answer two questions, and now you're a host. No journalism degree. You're a host. That's crazy.
Homegirl with no personality that uh Quavo was getting interviewed by. Well, he actually got her. He got her.
Oh, offset.
Offset. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Offset.
Yep.
Yeah, he
But yeah,
got her. He got her good. He got her good. He five upped her
mm-hmm.
because she was trying to get him and he wouldn't give her an inch.
Yeah, but I mean, it still promoted her. She get to use it. I just wish that all would go away, honestly. But it's fine. I might have to be the Eminem to their Backstreet Boys because I can't stand it. I might just start releasing content where people are doing stuff like that, and I just walk in and just sock them all in the face because I think it's stupid. I'm like, yo, life is so confusing as it is. Why would you waste your time to get ready to go do a podcast with somebody who's being confusing? That's like
That's where we at, man. That's just where we at.
Speaking of confusing, Sexy Red got a bottle thrown at her, and she walks off stage. I think Sexy Red needs to take the rest of the year off. Personally,
You know
I think
what?
she's pregnant.
I'll
Just
say
take a
this.
break.
Oh, I'll tell you one. So I was watching an interview where she said that song she made, she was just freestyling. but she was trying to make it like she was busted.
Oh, you talking about Booty Hole Brown? My
Yeah,
blank, my Booty Hole Brown. Yeah, I mean, it sounded like she
yeah,
was just sound like it. She was just clowning. I didn't. I that to me was a parody. I didn't know she was considered a legitimate rapper. That
yeah.
used to be a parody. You remember like the parody songs? They used to always have like a parody song.
No,
You know,
Weird
like
Weird Al Yankovic. To date
yeah.
myself. You know.
But I'm talking about like who there to use my baby daddy? Who there to use my baby daddy? Who there to you? Like you didn't give that person a career. You go, oh, that was fun with the record.
Yeah,
They making that person the hottest. But the reason why is, I mean, some people made her an absolute menace. I'm not gonna take it that far, but I will say that it's easy to make money off of the ignorant.
yeah. I'll say that I don't want to see anybody get treated crazy, but for what she does, she's lucky that this was just the first time that the crowd just had enough. You know what I'm saying? You're paying money you're paying a lot of money to go to a show. Once again, I'm talking about these shows where you have all these groups performing and all these people, and people pay a lot of money, and they just, only so much of the phony baloney that people can consume.
Oh, so wait, I didn't know. So they threw a bottle at her because they didn't like her performance.
Yeah, just she had walked on stage. She didn't even get to finish her song. She just went, and then she was like, "You gonna throw a bottle at me? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna throw a bottle at me?" And she walked off. And dude, the DJ was laughing. It wasn't her. It was like, I don't even think it was a DJ like that she travels with. It was just a DJ
Mm-hmm.
that was there, probably, that was just gonna play because she only got a song or two. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, but Homeboy was laughing. He was dying. Homeboy behind the turntables was dying. I felt bad for her though, because it was her first. Um, to me, it looked like she had been built up so much. It was her first true dose of reality. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So
mean, she needs to take a break. Just take the rest of the year off. Come back next year with an album. Think about what you're going to say next. Look, I'm sure you made more money than you ever had in the last 6 months. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. Stop. Just stop. Take a break. I mean, it's because you're going to lose your mental. You know what I'm saying? She pregnant. Just chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like this, she just had a sex thing release, sex story, like how from her own page. You live in a crazy life. Just relax. You know what I'm saying? Like, just take care of that booty hole and relax. That's it. I mean, sexy. I'm glad. I can't wait for a glow up myself. You know what I mean? Where just everything works in your favor. But I just think the faster it rises, the faster it can come down. So just be a celebrity and relax for a while. Kind of like what Cardi B did. I feel like Cardi B, like, she chilled out and just stayed famous.
you know what? Um, Whoever her team is genius, because I saw before she got with Offset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember seeing her in Dubai, and she shouldn't have been on anybody's anything. And she was drunk and crying, and she was just kind of just going off. And you could tell that it was like a lack of leadership with her management and all. Like, she shouldn't have been
Mm-hmm.
online. And for her to go from that to being media trained, just like the evolution of her, I gotta give her
Mm-hmm.
credit for that. Like she really she understood the rules. You know what I'm saying? She understood the
Mm-hmm.
rules.
Yeah, I just think when you get so famous, like when you breathe, it makes news. You gotta chill out because it's like you know you can fail in private, but if you got the media breathing down your neck, you damn near risk losing it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
Like
you gotta
like
have them handlers. You gotta have
you
them handlers.
just at least like spread it out so where it's like you've been famous for a couple of years now, okay, but if it's like the girl, it ain't been a year she been famous. You know what I'm saying? And she makes news every day off of some stupid stuff. I'm like, she's like, I shouldn't even know who you are. Like, why is your news getting to me? And then I'll tell you, now this is my personal beef with her. I was walking down the street and some dude was like, ski. I said, yo, I don't know what that means, but don't do that at me, bro. Like, don't do that at me. Like, I don't know what that means, but stop right now. I'm like, yo, whoever made this song is a menace and needs to be stopped. And then found out it was Sexy Red. They made me learn her name. I don't even like learning new female rappers' names. Like, they all seem the same to me, but dang,
Hey
I
man, Jeremy
just,
out there getting cat calls.
I'm
You know
like, yo, I don't even know what it actually means. I just know I don't want no more of it.
Hey, I feel you. Well, no, man. With that being said, man, this was another wild card edition of Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. What you got coming up, Jeremy?
Let me see. Tomorrow I'll be at I can't even say the place name, but it's in San Diego. I'll be coming to get those shirts. What else I got going on? More to come. I'm actually developing my calendar as it is. Oh, Saturday I'll be at the Comedy Store, 8 o'clock. So yeah.
Okay. All right. All good. Well, nah, shoot. I will see you tomorrow at some point then.
Yep.
And this has been another episode